Hey everybody, today we are going to be getting into the new moon that's going to be happening on December 1st, 2024. It's going to be a new moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's going to be happening at 1:41 a.m. depending on where you are in the country. So, what are new moons? New moons are like new beginnings. It's like a seed that you would plant in the ground, and whatever you plant at this time is going to sprout 6 months from now. It's also new energy or new events that can be happening not only in the sign but in the personal house for you. So when we have a new moon in a certain sign, that is the collective new energy for all of us. We have a new moon in Sagittarius. The new moon is asking us to make new plans for traveling, new plans for adventure, for trips. Even if you don't go on a trip right now, someone gave me this great idea recently. They were like, buy a ticket. Even if you buy it for 6 months or 9 months out or whatever, buy a ticket at the time where, just strike while the iron is hot as far as when it comes to Sagittarius energy. Get out there. You may be having new ideas about wanting to go to a little bit more parties, wanting to have a little bit more fun, adventure. This is ninth house stuff. You might have new ideas like, hey, I need to laugh a little bit more. Head to a comedy show. I play a lot of stand-up comedy. I am personally a Sag Sun and Rising. Incorporate Sag energy into your life. Play some stand-up comedy while you're brushing your teeth. It's also asking us to, we have new energy and new ideas as far as our philosophies, how we feel about religion. We have new ideas about higher education. You may want to take a class. It doesn't have to be a college class. It can just be like a class that is being held in your city. Sagittarian seeds that we are planting now. We need all signs in our life. And at this point in time, the universe is asking us to bring that Sagittarian energy in. So yes, higher education, travel, philosophy, comedy, pranks, laughing, all that stuff is what we want to bring to the forefront right now. The new moon in Sagittarius is going to be opposite Jupiter by 1 degree, so a very tight opposition, and square Saturn in Pisces. So when we look at how the new moon is being affected by the other planetary transits, the Jupiter and Gemini energy is opposing the Sag energy. Jupiter and Gemini, and it's funny because Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius. So this is a very, I don't want to say confused new moon, but there's a lot of duality going on. Jupiter and Gemini is bringing us all a lot of joy right now into learning, into varied activities, and having multiple pots on the stove at the same time. Whatever any of us is interested in. Maybe you are interested in learning how to play the guitar, but you are also interested in murder mysteries. And at the same time, you are reading a book about finance. These are all intellectual pursuits. And when Jupiter is in Gemini, you don't want to just focus on one thing. You want to kind of go and spend 5 minutes here and 6 minutes there and 7 minutes there. Think of TikTok. Ooh, you're scrolling, you see cooking, and now, ooh, you're scrolling and you're seeing dog grooming or something. All of it's interesting. None of it's really related. And yet we want to learn about all of it. This energy of being kind of all over the place or a finger in every pie is not getting along with our Sagittarius new moon. Jupiter and Gemini is very surface level of a lot of things, and Sagittarius, although it's very broad, can go very deep into 1 or 2 or 3 things. This Jupiter and Gemini opposition can cause us to have a bit of trouble organizing our ideas. Sagittarius is about philosophy. We might be trying to come up with philosophies or ideas about how to move through this world and how to relate to life. And it might be a little bit hard with Jupiter and Gemini because you have so many ideas. You might be reading so many things, and you may have so many possible paths of philosophies that you want to walk down. Try to come up with philosophies that feel very true to you. That will feel a little bit difficult at this time with all of these varied interests, but it is a goal of Sagittarius to find a belief system, a set of values that works to carry you through life at this time. You may be having a feeling of overconsumption right now. You may be working on so many things, have so many pots on the stove that metaphorically you might be burning 1 or 2 things. And that might be hard for, that is also opposing the Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarius is very much start something, be very excited, and not finish it. So as you are trying to start Sagittarian things, the Jupiter and Gemini is not really helping. But overall, this is still not a horrible opposition. Jupiter is by nature a positive planet. It is also the dispositor, like I said, of Sagittarius. So even though there is an opposite energy going on, it's still a very benign, I would think, opposition. And I think some signs, even though they are opposite, are more opposite than others. For example, I think Capricorn and Cancer are extremely opposite, but like I think Scorpio and Taurus, or Sagittarius and Gemini, although they're opposites, have so many similarities at the same time. So this is not the worst opposition to have. Our new moon is also square Saturn in Pisces and pretty close to it, squared by 3 degrees. Saturn in general is the planet of seriousness, of responsibility, of putting in that time and putting in that work. And you're not getting the results quickly. In fact, results will most likely be delayed in whatever you're doing. Saturn in any sign square Sag is going to bring a bit of a wet blanket, rainy day, raining on a parade type of energy to the hypeness and the fire and the excitedness that Sagittarius is. And Pisces is the same way. Pisces is very like wanderlust. Pisces is very watery. It's very 12th housey, very hidden, can be a bit low energy, dreamy, lost in the clouds. And Sagittarius, fire sign, explosive, wanting to do things immediately, very impulsive, very in the moment, very here, very much not, 12th house. So the planet and the sign are causing it's like water and oil. It's just not mixing with the new moon at all. With the Saturn and Pisces square, like I said, Sagittarius is trying to come up with ways to philosophize and think about life. You may have a lack of opinion. You may be quite confused. My Pisces people can be very confused. It's a confused energy at times. Can have a hard time maybe at this time pinpointing what philosophy or what religion that you want to go. You may just be confused in general about which way to go. Maybe you are like, yeah, I want to take a trip, but you're constantly not knowing which country to pick or what time you should go. You might just feel confused about who's going or the schedule or something like that. Or maybe you know these things, this Sagittarian energy you want to bring into your life, but you might be scared to assert it. Pisces is not the most assertive sign, so maybe you are feeling, and Saturn can bring sometimes a criticalness of ourselves. Maybe you're like, I don't know if this is a good idea, or I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if I should go to this party. Maybe I should just go home and clean my room, or maybe I shouldn't take this trip. Maybe I should just put it into savings. Saturn is causing a lack of confidence when we're trying to bring this Sagittarian energy into our life right now. So that's sort of the energy that's going on for all of us. Nonetheless, Sagittarius is a very positive, very fiery, very fun energy and sign. So I think we're going to have a good time on December 1st when the new moon is in Sag. New moon is, like I said before, planting seeds. Whatever seeds we plant now, whatever energy that we choose to bring, how we choose to incorporate Sagittarius in our lives, we are going to revisit it again in May of 2025. Now, my disclaimer, I will be reading for your rising sign. However, where the new moon is happening can be in a different house than your rising sign, depending on how far north or south of the equator you are, depending on what time of day you were born, the size of your houses, and things like that. The new moon will not necessarily always be in the house that I'm reading it for you. So make sure you go to get a chart calculator and find out exactly what degree this house is in, and you will have the most accurate reading. And I would watch for that rising signs interpretation as well. So let's get into it. So first we have Aries. The new moon in Sagittarius is going to be in your 9th house. You're going to be having new ideas, new philosophies. You're going to be reading new books, and new books about philosophy, about religion, about history, learning about people and how they relate to the world. You're going to have new ideas about adventure. You might have an idea come to you like, oh, I want to go here. You might see something on a billboard or in a commercial that inspires some travel in you. You may have new opportunities for travel. Somebody can invite you on a trip. Your work could send you somewhere. have a possibility to move or relocate or just see something new. It doesn't have to be around the world either. You know, you can go from New York to Vegas and that can be your new adventure, your new trip. You guys are also wanting more fun and more partying in your life. You are wanting to get out there a little bit more and bring some spontaneity and some fire into the mundaneness of life that sometimes befalls upon all of us. Aries, you guys are going to love this because as a fire rising, you very much relate to fire energy. I think all the fire signs have such a cohesiveness to them and that they love energy and impulsiveness and doing things. You have Jupiter opposing this new moon in your ninth house. The Jupiter is in the third house in Gemini. You have a lot of interest right now in exploring your hometown, going here and there, going to local coffee shops, going to local delis, going to local shows that are in your area, hanging out with your siblings and hanging out with your cousins, just going around your neighborhood. This is a bit at odds with the new moon in the ninth house. It could be that spending so much time with these people is maybe clouding your brain a little bit for what philosophies and beliefs are true to you as an individual. It could be that because you are maybe spending so much money and so much time in your local community that you have a little bit lost the idea that while it is good to explore near, it is also good to explore far. Maybe you have forgotten that a little bit. As always, when there are planets and squares or oppositions to a newer full moon, we want to look to the moon. So if you have been spending a lot of time in your neighborhood or with your siblings, I would say this new moon is asking you to go far, and you can always come back, and you will come back. But right now, the new moon is like, hey, we need to broaden our horizons and go a little bit farther than we have been. The new moon is also square Saturn in Pisces, which is currently transiting your 12th house. So like I said, this is a very serious planet, and the squares Sagittarius is a very not serious nature. You may be being more serious about the 12th house, taking meditation, yoga, and your mental health more seriously. You may be more consistently putting in work, going to therapy, or just working on like doing more introspection. Could be writing. You may have, and this squares the Sagittarius energy because Sagittarius is not super focused on being introspective or staying inside or meditation or stuff like that. And it is higher mind, but Sagittarius is more about doing and getting out there. So this whole kind of like being more serious about staying in and learning about ourselves, we're kind of feeling it's like kind of clashing a bit. You could be having some struggles with your 12th house right now. Maybe you could be having a deterioration or a hard time with your mental health. You're maybe having lack of access to therapy right now, or you may just be finding it harder to reap those benefits. Your 12th house well feels a little dry, and that is not adding to, we need to feel good in ourselves in the 12th house in order to go out and have fun and travel. Nobody wants to do those things when you don't feel good. If you are struggling with that part of life, trying to incorporate that sagginess is going to feel harder, and that's the square energy. 12th house is also interestingly about foreign travel and foreign things. The ninth house is also, some houses will have themes that very much overlap, albeit in slightly different ways. So maybe you have struggled with foreign things, passport, getting certain papers. Maybe you are offered a trip in some form, and then the square of the Saturn is like, oh, but I don't have my ID, or I can't get this in time, or there's some sort of struggle with that. So my advice to you is it's time for travel. I want you guys to plan a faraway trip, but take time away from your third house. Even though it is joyous right now because Jupiter is here, but take time away to focus on your ninth house. Also make sure all foreign affairs are in order, all paperwork, documents, IDs, and whatever. And make sure, tend carefully to your mental health and your inner world and your inner being at that time. Once you do a metaphorical cleanup and sweep up of your 12th house, you will be able to go and enjoy the ninth. So Aries, that's what I have for you guys. Let me know about your travel plans and what you guys plan to do, and we will revisit this again in May of 2025. Now Taurus, The new moon in Sagittarius is going to be happening for you guys in your 8th house. Sagittarius is very adventurous, very fun, very spontaneous. You guys might be feeling a little bit more adventurous in the bedroom. You guys might be wanting to try new things. You might be wanting to get out there a little bit more, sow your wild oats, or if you are with a partner, you are feeling at this time like you really want to spice it up. You really want to try things that you've never tried before and things that they've never tried before, and just ride that wave of adventure in that way. You may want to have new ways of sharing, being adventurous about sharing. Sagittarius is also blabbermouth, big mouth, like to talk. Maybe you share a secret with a partner or somebody that you're close with, could be a friend or a family member. Something deep and vulnerable about yourself. And the Sagittarius energy allows you to speak it right now and to share it with somebody. And that new energy might bring you closer to that. You might be saying, hey, I'm telling you something that is a big deal to me, and that is just bringing us to a new level in our relationship. You could also have new ways of approaching taxes or loans. These are shared resources, finances that are in some way tied to others, whether it be a bank, an institution, another person we take a loan out from. These are not finances that are totally in our own control. You may have new optimistic ways of approaching that. Tax season is coming up. Maybe you've been saved. You're like, yo, let me get all my receipts together so I can itemize and deduct this. Stuff like that. You may be having a financial problem, and then you could be like, wait a second, I can apply for this loan with a low interest rate that will help me get whatever goal I'm trying to get. So those are some of the new ideas that's coming to you, Taurus. You could have a new way of handling inner emotions. 8th house can be a bit dark and a bit taboo. Sagittarius is very light and optimistic. So maybe you are trying to incorporate some ways, even if you're not sharing this with somebody, about how to handle darker, more taboo, more inner emotions or inner demons. You might be a little bit more jokey with these inner demons. You might be a little bit more jokey with some of the dark thoughts that you have, in a way to, you will feel them, but you don't want to be dragged down and bogged down by them. Maybe you are trying to just have a lighter, more positive energy to some of the very dark things that can go on in all of our minds and in life. And that can just give you a sort of buoyancy that makes you feel better and happier. So I really like this new moon in Sag in the 8th house for you guys. I think it's going to be very positive. You do have Jupiter in the 2nd house, which is at odds with this new moon. This Jupiter is at odds, but it's a positive sort of odds with going deeper into the 8th house. And as far 8th house, I think, is financial security in a more emotional sense. Hey, I paid this off, so I feel safe. Like if my family needs something, I can pay them. Jupiter, that's a sort of abundance financially you'd feel in the 8th house. An abundance that you would feel with Jupiter in the 2nd is very much related to the actual material, related to the actual number. I have X amount of dollars, so in my bank account, so I feel good. And if I had double that, I'd feel even better. It's very straightforward, this terrain 2nd house energy. You are really, because Jupiter is here in a state of, at this time, in a state of material abundance and joy. I think everybody loves a good 2nd house Jupiter transit. I know I do. You are loving some of the deals that you are getting right now. Like your car insurance could be going down. Tax returns are coming up. You could have something refinanced. You could be getting something that out of nowhere is paid back to you. I know at this time school is giving out refund checks, because I just got one for overpayment. So some of these things are coming to you right now, and you are just loving it. And it's human. You might be doing a little bit more shopping right now, buying high quality items that really bring you joy. But the over identification that can often come with this Jupiter in the 2nd house transit is at odds with the deeper emotions you're supposed to be focusing on and feeling right now. Because both of these houses are related to money, it could be that you take a loan that is too much. You may be feeling really good with this Jupiter in the 2nd, and then it's at odds with the 8th house, and your 8th house is like, no, that's too much. You could be taking out too many loans, and this could be something as simple as, you know, Afterpay and Klarna is on everything right now. I have like 4 or 5 going at the same time. These sorts of things can really, like, the abundance of the 2nd and then trying to create the true emotional financial security of the 8th can be at odds. When you buy a little something on Afterpay, it's like, oh, just pay $35 a month, interest free for, you know, for bi-weekly for 4 weeks. And that doesn't seem so bad. And then you take out another afterpay for 40 bucks. And then you do a Klarna for 75 bucks. And then before you know it, you're at like 150 bucks or whatever the math is a month. Although at the time it seemed that you were just these little things. So that's the energy right now that's going on with your finances. Finances is very big for you, Taurus, right now. And of course it's going to be big for you because you're a Taurus. Like, that is very much a part of your life evolution and your life path. The new moon is also squaring your Saturn in 11th right now. You may be having struggles or friendships with certain groups, and this could be stirring up negative emotions in you. And you may be also having struggles with personal dreams, which can be stirring up negative emotions. You could be falling out with friends or groups, or you could just not be seeing them as much, or you may feel like certain friends or groups are kind of fading away, not really feeling true to you anymore. We also have a huge transit of Pluto in Aquarius coming up, which I think we are all starting to feel now, of a dissolution of certain friendships and groups. So that is something that is very powerful to you guys right now. And as far as the personal dreams, you may realize that you're not working on your dreams as hard as you could be, or you feel like you are working on some personal dreams and they may be not moving as fast as you wanted to move. This irritation from the Saturn in the 11th of Pisces is seeping into your 8th house and is causing you to feel this emotional turmoil. But Sag is trying its best to avoid you from that and get you to see like a silver lining or a possible positive solution. But these energies of trying to feel positive with the Sag and then feeling the struggle in the 11th, they're just like, it's like coffee and orange juice. It's just not really going right now. So the advice that I would have for you guys, Taurus, about how to handle this new moon is use this time of abundance, because you guys are in financial abundance, to save. Jupiter will only be here for 1 year, so you want to take it as best advantage as you can. This will lead to greater financial stability in the future, which will provide you a lot more satisfaction than whatever fleeting things you could order off Amazon. I know Black Friday is coming up. Don't go crazy. Avoid any bad loans. Avoid too many loans. If you cannot pay for it outright, try your best to put it off unless it is completely necessary. Try to avoid overconsumption at this time, because you will have to deal with everything that you've bought and all the loans that you've taken out as this transit is over. True abundance lies in inner peace and positive emotions. And the final advice that I would have for you guys, Taurus, is to be honest, which is Sagittarius energy, about how you really feel on the inside. Be honest about what's hurting you. Be honest about what you can do to sort of mitigate that pain. Be honest about how you feel about your 11th house, about your friends, the groups, your personal dreams. And use this Sagittarius energy to try to think of a positive solution so that you can make your 11th house and your 8th house be a place that feels good to you. So you can feel really good when you wake up every day on the inside. So Taurus, that's what I have for you guys. Next we have Gemini. So this new moon is going to be happening for you guys in the 7th house. Such a fun house, an angular house. This has the possibility of new relationships. They can start at this time. Somebody can ask you out, or you might just be feeling this energy so revved up to ask somebody else out. I asked somebody else out when my new moon was in the 7th earlier this year. So that's the kind of energy you could be feeling. You, even if you don't ask somebody out, could be having new eyes on a partner. Somebody might start to stick out somebody might start to stick out to you. And you may just have these seeds starting to trickle in your brain, like, I think I kind of like this person. And you may just at this time start to watch them and size them up to see if you want to ask them out at a later time. Things that are new, or the new energy starting with the new moon, doesn't always have to be a literal starting of something in the house that it's in. It could just be an idea that is planted or growing for later. If you are in a partnership, or even if you're not, you may have new ideas. They're positive, they're fun, because it's a Sag, of ways of interacting with a partner. You could also very much want to bring more adventure if you are in a relationship, or if you're thinking about a relationship. You may say, like, in my last relationship, we were very sedentary. We didn't do a lot. We watched a lot of Netflix. It was a lot of Netflix and chill going on. You may be feeling like, in my new relationship, when I get in one, or if you are in one, you might be feeling like, hey, let's once a month take a short 2-day trip to somewhere, or let's try, we can have a bucket list for each other where you pick a day, I pick a day, and we both do something that we've never done. So that's really the kind of energy you want to bring: fun and partying and adventure and newness and spontaneity. You really want to bring that into your relationships right now. You could also start a relationship, if you do, with someone who is very Sagittarian, like someone who is, or could just be very spontaneous. In general, this new moon is opposing Jupiter, which is in your first house. You've been having so much joy, Gemini, right now about yourself. You may just be like looking in the mirror like, damn, I'm doing it. You may be appreciating everything that you are, everything that you bring. You might be spending more time going out by yourself. Maybe you go to the mall and just go shopping, and you eat at the food court, and you ever just see somebody out by themselves, whether it be at a mall or at a concert or in a restaurant, and they just look like they're so content? That is you guys. It is so beautiful to have Jupiter in any house. But first, it's like, it is so, you feel so good. You feel so good about yourself, and therefore you feel good about the world. And also you feel good about the world because the first house is like the glasses that we see through, and then you feel good about yourself. It's just a symbiotic relationship. That's great. However, feeling so much joy in yourself, figuring out who you are, realizing who you are, and then wanting to merge with someone else is such, and it can be such an opposing journey at times because you are getting to know someone, you are compromising with someone, you are trying to put your best foot forward, and maybe, you know, not always your most honest foot forward. I think we're all a little guilty of putting on our best self when we first meet somebody, only for that to inevitably fall off. And I think just by nature of being in a relationship, even in the most positive of relationships, you do in certain ways, I don't want to say let go parts of yourself, but you do have to compromise. You can't come home and watch your favorite show all the time, especially if that's not your partner's favorite show, or if they go to work and you're home. It's generally good relationship etiquette to wait for them to come back to watch it. So the joy that you are finding in yourself and the joy that you're finding in relating to others, you really want to strike a balance. Jupiter is going to be here for a while, for about a year. So right now, for this, around this December 1st time, like a week before and a couple days after the new moon, you want to focus on others. You can always come back to the Jupiter, but we want to focus on relating to others right now. And the beautiful part, because this is a benevolent opposition, positive is Jupiter. It's also the dispositor of Sagittarius, like I said. What you learn about relating to people, these new relationships and stuff like that, is going to help you know yourself better. So definitely, of all the opposition to have, this is probably the best one that we can ask for. You have the new moon is squaring Saturn, which is in your 10th. So you could have been having for a while some struggles with your career. Because it is in Pisces, you may be a bit unsure about where to go, unsure about the future. You might be in a company or have a boss that is making things unclear to you. Like you are just not feeling the best, because in order to go after something, which is very much 10th house energy, you got to know where you're going. And Pisces is like, doesn't usually know where they're going. So that is kind of squaring the new moon in the 7th. This could be maybe you're on a date, or maybe you are with a partner that you've been with for a while, but you have maybe work struggles on your mind that's sort of getting in the way of relating. It could be just taking the fun out of the new things that we're doing with our partner. Maybe you guys go axe throwing, or you guys go to some cool museum or event, and the whole time you're like trying to have fun, but you're thinking about like your boss or your career or your job or some work that you need to attend to. So yeah, it's like I said before, it's like milk and orange juice. These two energies are not getting along. My advice for you guys, Gemini, how to incorporate all this energy so you get the most out of it, is to take time to decide how you want your 7th house to look and who you want to be in it. This is not just a romantic partner. It can be just people we socialize with in general. Make a list of your ideal partner and focus on that, and add some of those Sagittarian traits in there. Make a bucket list, like I said earlier, for you and your partner to invite adventure and fun and spontaneity into your relationship. Doing novel things together has been scientifically shown to bond people, not just romantic partners, but anybody. So that can really liven up a relationship. if you guys share those things and actually plan to do those things with each other. And maybe be impulsive. Maybe just go home to your partner and be like, you want to just do this night? Like, let's just do it. That will really, I think, bring you guys a lot of joy. And try your best to be in the moment so you don't let struggles with work get in the way of the spontaneity and the fun that you're supposed to be feeling at this time, and with your partner. And with that being said, Gemini, we're going to come back and we're going to revisit it in May 2025 in 6 months. So good luck. Cancer, this new moon for you guys is going to be in your 6th house. So there is going to be a lot of new energy. You're going to be very excited because this is Sag, about new jobs that might be coming to you, new diet, new structure. You may see something and be like, I want to go on keto. And that you might just be really excited. Sagittarius gets really excited really fast about things. You may have a new structure that you come up with yourself. You may be like, look, going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and trying to wake up at 5, 6, 7, 8 is not working. I'm going to have this new structure where I have no phone after 9 o'clock. I'm going to bed by 10 and I'm waking up around 6:30. And you're very excited because you're excited about what this is going to bring to your life and how this is going to change your life. You may also have new ideas about how to make this more fun. The 6th house has such a reputation for being drab and boring and analytical, but the truth is the 6th house is a very, very vital part of all of our lives. And I think I just realized this year that I feel like we overlook the 6th so much. It is not the most exciting house, although it is extremely vital. You may be thinking right now of how to make your everyday more fun. Maybe instead of just waking up and brushing your teeth, I always like to play some stand-up comedy while I'm brushing my teeth and while I'm getting ready. It brings a bit of fun and joy to the everyday. Maybe with your structure, you might be getting up at 6:30, but you may also be bringing more Sag energy as far as like, okay, now that I got everything I need to get done by 9 o'clock, maybe I spend an hour doing something that I enjoy, something like laughing or hanging out with your kids or a partner or a friend or whatever. So making your everyday more fun, more adventurous, more spontaneous is the new ideas that's coming to you right now, Cancer. The new moon is opposing your Jupiter, which is in the 12th house. You have a real joy right now as far as exploring 12th house matters. You may be having a new mentor. You could be or a new guru. You could be having a new therapist or starting a therapy journey at this time. You maybe have started meditating in this past year or however long Jupiter has been in your 12th. You might be feeling like, man, I feel really good. I meditate. You can do it for 10 seconds. Sometimes I do it for 5 seconds a morning. And you might just be feeling like that makes me feel good. Doing some yoga, reflecting, writing in the journal, doing all these 12th house things is bringing you a lot of joy. You may be enjoying really learning about it right now because Gemini is learning. However, this is at odds with the new moon in the 6th because the 6th house is very much here and now. The 6th house is very much, this is my to-do list for the day. Okay, I'm done. Now, immediately after I'm done making this phone call, what do I have to do next? Let me work on that. It's about the here and now. It's about from 9 to 9:30, I do this. From 9:30 to 10:15, I'm doing this and sticking to that and sticking to it almost by the minute. So that's very much at odds with this Sagittarian nature. Sagittarius is not that at all. That's very much at odds with the Sagittarius in the 6th house nature. That being said, Jupiter is a dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is a very benevolent planet. So of all the oppositions to have, I would say this is one of the best ones. The new moon is also square Saturn in the 9th. You may be having a hard time with travel right now, adventure. You may be a bit struggling with higher learning. Maybe you taking a break from school, not knowing what you want to go to school for, having some trouble paying for classes could be. Maybe having a bit of a hard time with certain philosophies. Maybe there's something that you believed for a while and now you don't, or maybe you are trying to get into something, but there's an internal struggle of what you're believing right now. You could be being more serious or taking your religion more seriously. It could be also Sagittarius' religion too. Maybe you are trying to incorporate a lifestyle more closely related to the source, whatever that is for you, Buddha, God, Allah, whatever it is for you. And that is at odds maybe with your everyday life. You bring in a little bit more Sagittarius into your everyday. Maybe you are listening to comedy and they're cursing a lot, or they're talking about sexual matters, and you may find that that doesn't necessarily jive with your ninth house. You want to take the time to figure out your ninth house. So my advice for you guys, Cancer, now's the time to figure out how to revolutionize your sixth house. You don't want to go too far on the 12th house right now. And you don't want to focus too much on the ninth house right now. You want to focus on the sixth. We want to get these other houses, the ninth and the 12th, stabilized. Of course, find joy in therapeutic processes. And of course, attend to your beliefs and handling any foreign affairs that you might have. But for the week before and the couple of days after the full moon, we want to focus our attention on bringing that positive spirit to our everyday, getting excited about new ways, new diets, new routines, and seeing how that really feeds us. And then we can go back to these more longer shifting transits. So yes, Cancer, that's my advice for you guys. And whatever you routine or job you start now, we're going to revisit it in 6 months in May of 2025. All right, so Leo, the Sagittarius new moon is going to be in your 5th house. This is so fun, and it's a Sag, so this is like triple fun. There's going to be new concerts, new parties that you're getting invited to. You're just going to have this revving up, and you already have Sag in this house, but you're just going to be feeling super revved up to like get out and have a good time. We all know when we're out and we're just partying and we're laughing and we're socializing and we're talking to people and you're just having a good ass time. That is what you guys feel right now. And of course, it makes so much sense because you are a Leo rising. So you are just, this new moon is like probably the best for you. You and Sag rising. And Aries, all the fire signs, you guys are, I think, are benefiting the most. Yeah, there's just gonna be new energy for fun. There's gonna be new invitations coming to you. You might look up and see that your favorite band is coming to town, or your favorite comedian is gonna be going on tour. And even if you don't go to these things during this time, you might just be buying the tickets for the future, or there might just be something that you've wanted to do that you think is fun, be it an exhibit, or maybe you want to go to a drag show. Or I'm just giving examples of things where you're just like, you know what, I want to do it now. Like, let's go to it, or let's buy the ticket to it. Like, let's plan it. I'm feeling the energy to do this. And you're going to have so much fun. You may just be having this new energy to be going out on a Friday night. We, with all this technology, can be so sedentary and so stuck in our house, ordering things to our house and not getting out. And you might just be feeling this burst of cabin fever, but in a positive way, wanting to get out and meet people. You may be trying out some dates. We can all become a little bit better from time to time about dating people, but right now you're feeling very positive. You're feeling like, I'm ready to date people. I'm ready to meet some new people. I want these people to be funny. You want them to be Sagittarian. Like, that can happen at this time. You could start a relationship with somebody who's very fun and spontaneous, maybe very big and tall, and just very Sagittarian-like. If you are dating someone, you want to just come home and tell your partner, like, let's go do this. I was driving past this on the way home. Let's just put our clothes on and go. Bringing that spontaneity and that fun and that childlike behavior into your relationship with your partner is definitely going to bond you guys. There are so many scientific studies that show that when you do novel activities with your partner, it actually binds you guys together, makes the relationship stronger. So that's really what you're into right now. But it's also very fun right now. And you can be doing anything. Like, I want to show you guys this. Oh, my mom got this candle making kit off Amazon the other day. And we just had such a good time. Like, we made these little candles. We melted the wax. We colored it and we put like the wick in. Just being creative. We picked our own scents. Stuff like that is stuff that you will be focusing on, whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, whether it's making candles or sewing something, anything that you make. This is about Leo. We guys know the best creations in the world are the things that we make. And nobody understands that better than Leo. So get out there and make something right now. Join a creative class, and I would say even join with your partner. Or in that creative class, you very much can meet a partner. So this is just, again, so fun. Such a fun new moon. It's also time to fluff our feathers and our ego. You know, that phrase, we want to give this person our flowers. We want to give ourselves our flowers. We want to look in the mirror and say, I'm doing it right now. I'm dressed to the nines right now. I did so great today. Really? really lift yourself up. And you're a Leo, so I know you were born to do that. And don't be obnoxious about it, of course. But in our own minds, when we're brushing our teeth in the mirror or we're doing what we're doing to get ready for the day, make sure you say something kind and uplifting and appreciative of yourself. Appreciate yourself right now. You are having Jupiter opposing the new moon in the 11th house. You may be having time with a lot of time with friends, increased time with friends, a lot of joy. Jupiter in the 11th is always a time where you make more friends or meet new long-term friends. And this is really at odds with focusing on building the self as we do in the 1st and in the 5th. Instead of like reveling in who we are and realizing how great we are and creating things and focusing on ourselves, we are focusing on our friends and our progressive ideals, which often involve making the world a better place for people. And also Jupiter in the 11th house in Gemini is many friends. So spending all this time, maybe attending a lot of birthday parties, you could be attending a lot of Friendsgivings at this time, a lot of Christmas parties for all these different friends. And it's a bit taking away from you, I don't want to say partying with yourself, but just instead of accepting everyone else's invitation, you need to accept your own invitation, if that makes sense. Now, Jupiter is a dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter, by its very nature, is a benevolent planet. So this is, of all the oppositions to have, I think one of the best. But it's still an opposition nonetheless, so it's just something you want to take time for, to think about, to focus on yourself. This new moon is also square a very serious Saturn in the 8th. Very serious sign. Very serious planet, very serious house. You maybe have been very serious in this last year or two, or however long Saturn has been here, about your 8th house. You're getting serious about your loans. You're looking through your taxes. You're reading the tax law. You're reading every detail on your tax return. You're getting into it. You are looking at the interest rates and the fine print on your loans, which we often don't do. We just click, 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 give you the money. You're looking like, know what's going on here. You're getting serious about inheritance from other people. You are getting serious about your sexuality and your deeper feelings. What is your inner emotional landscape? The 8th house is, if you took a picture of nature, how does that reflect you? If you took a picture of a hurricane, that would reflect that you felt bad. If you took a picture of a sunny day, that would reflect that inside you feel good. You're getting very serious about that. And your feelings, not just on a fleeting basis, oh, I had a good day at work. That's not 8th house. How do you feel about your life and how it's going so far is very much 8th house. You've been very serious about that. That is very much not getting along with this new, light, fun energy where we're appreciating ourselves. You're sort of going in the emotional attic and you're dusting off the cobwebs and you're seeing what's there, what you need to throw out, what you need to bring in. That is not fun. That is not going out and creating things and meeting people and going on dates. And nonetheless, the universe is calling you to do both at the same time. So it's very much like I've been saying, like milk and orange juice. It's just not mixing. You don't really mix those two things. So they're very much at odds. Pisces is also very much inward and Sagittarius is also very much outward. So just the sign is not getting along, the planet and the house is just very much at odds with this new moon. My advice for you guys, Leo, for how to best deal with this would be, now is a time to really revel in yourself. Your friends, although they are joyous, are going to have to take a back seat right now. So if an example presents itself where you are maybe going to go see a band or a show or do something that you really want to do that you think is fun, but maybe all your friends, they might not be into that band or into that thing. They're like, hey, we're going to go do this. I would encourage you guys to revel in the self right now and put yourself first, at least for this week and a half time being. It's a very long transit, Jupiter, Saturn. It'll be there when you get back. Saturn in the 8th is also us reckoning with ourselves, but it's the serious side of the self that we're reckoning with. So get it under control if need be, but don't let it take away from really finding joy in who you are and the fact that nobody in this world is you. The universe made you just you, and in true Leo nature, we need to revel in that. And just feeling like I am the best, not better than others, but I am the best simply because I am me. So yeah, Leo, that's what I have. Love yourselves. I know you guys do that already. And whatever you start now, creative adventures, or dates, or however you feel about yourself, we're going to revisit it again and how that's been working out for you in May of 2025 in 6 months. So Virgo, This new moon is going to be happening for you guys in the fourth house. You could be having new furniture in the home. You may want to redecorate, and the redecoration that you do could be very foreign. Like, there are people who have like a certain theme, like of a certain culture in their house, even though it might not be that culture. You could be having a lot of beads up, or you could just be bringing a foreign energy and a foreign decor to your house right now. You could have a new home or be renewing a lease. I always see that with the new moon in the fourth. It could be a move, but it doesn't always have to be so extreme. New family members could be showing up. Maybe somebody announces they are pregnant or somebody is born. Also, it's Thanksgiving time, so maybe there are little babies that are born that you have not met yet and that you will be incorporating into your fourth house energy. And a lot of times people are going to be Sagittarius, or they will be very big or very funny in some way. New family bonds or new family dynamics popping up that are positive. Sag is positive and fun. Like I said, Thanksgiving time, maybe you just had this idea like, hey, at Thanksgiving, no drama. We're going to be having jokes and we're going to be having a good time. No politics. We are just going to be having fun. And that could just be new if you come from a maybe more contentious family. So ideas of fun and ideas of foreignness enter the home. Games, comedy. I always say maybe you want to start inviting more people and have game night. I think everybody should have game night once a week with somebody. You might just be having those ideas like, you know what, maybe I kind of want to start doing this. They might be crossing your mind at this time, Virgo. This is new moon is opposing Jupiter in the 10th house. So the joy and the expansion of the 10th house is at odds with focusing on the home, family, and innermost self. You have a lot of joy right now with your career, and because it's in Gemini, you may be doing a couple things. You may have a couple things on the stove. Maybe you are employed at a 9-to-5 business, but you also have a side business on the side, and it is going well. Jupiter in the 10th is one of my favorite transits. It feels so good. We feel successful at this time. It's taking up a lot of your time, but you love it. You love the results. Jupiter is very quick, very fast, very expansive results. Whatever you do positive in the 10th house is coming back immediately. When we are at work, and I always say this, we are not at home, and when we are home, we are not at work. Often we might mix the two because, you know, now we can work from home, a lot of people. This is at odds with you focusing on your family. When you're at home, you want to try to be at home. You don't want to be sitting across from your family at dinner time thinking about what emails you need to send. Or a lot of times the struggle with, I hear from people who work at home, is like, hey, from 8 to 4 when I'm in the office, I'm working, and after that I'm done. But when I work from home, now I'm always on call. Or now work is always on my mind. Or it's just like, there's not a hard line. It's just this fluidity of I'm always feeling like I'm at work at home at the same time. It's kind of pulling away from that focus of just the fourth house. However, Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is in a by its very nature, it's a benevolent planet. So even though it is opposition, I think it is probably one of the best oppositions that you can have. It's not going to be felt as harshly as like a Saturn or a Pluto. And Gemini, also a very lighthearted, positive, funny sign. So there is this opposition energy, but it's not that bad. Is what I'm trying to get at. Who is also square your Saturn, which is in Pisces in the 7th. You have been having some struggles in your 7th house. You could be feeling like, especially because it's in Pisces, which is a very inward sign, and Sagittarius is a very outward sign. You may be having a hard time right now, feeling unclear. What kind of partners do you want? What kind of relationship dynamics do you want to have? You may be having difficulty with a partner. Definitely when Saturn is ever transiting Venus or the 7th house at all, we may be looking at our partner a lot more critically. We're not seeing them with rose-colored glasses. Our eye is first going to that pimple on their cheek, or the fact that they never put the toilet seat down. That stuff is sticking out to you first at this time, and it's not feeling good. You're getting irritated. I've always noticed that when Saturn is making the aspect to the love in our chart, you may be having a lack of relationships right now. You may be trying to start relationships right now and feeling like things are constantly getting in the way, they're out of your control, and it's just annoying. We all want to merge with people. That is just human nature, and the fact that you are having a hard time and you are struggling with that right now is not making your innermost self, your inner child, feel so great. And when you're around your family, I don't want to say you will be snapping on them, but you might just not be feeling your best self, because who would be? If you're having relationship problems or you're feeling upset about being single, you're not going to feel your best when you're around anybody, especially when you're at home. So yes, very much like mixing milk and orange juice. These two energies that you've been feeling, this evolutionary journeys that you are on are not rubbing each other correctly. So my advice for you guys, Virgo, about how to best focus this is spend time focusing on your family and your home, the members in your family, your actual physical home, the emotions that you feel when you come home. Focus on that and focus on the dynamics and the conditions there. If something needs to be fixed in your home, if something needs to be fixed, if you need to let go of a feud or a grudge with a family member, do that. If you want to redecorate, bring some positive energy. If you have something, maybe from an ex that's been in your home, get rid of that. Make your home a place that you feel happy to come. It's a Sagittarius. You want to feel happy to come home. You want to feel excited to be at home. And make sure you keep a strong boundary. This would be my advice for you guys, Virgo, on keeping work, and home, home. Virgo, you guys love to work. You guys have some of the best work ethic I have ever seen, rivaling that of Capricorn. Like, you two are neck and neck. And although me being a 10th house moon, I know the joy that comes from feeling like you are successful and feeling like you are getting somewhere. But this is a long-term transit. It'll be there for about a year. I want you to spend time on the home for the week before and a few days after. Let work take a pause. And that might be very much easy for you guys right now, since it is holiday time. You may have a week break or a couple days break. I want you to meditate, completely be in the present, put that out of your mind, and focus on the home. And I think you're going to feel very happy and rejuvenated with this Sag energy after. So yeah, whatever you start now with the home, with the family, whatever goes on at this time, we're going to revisit it again in 6 months. All right, so for this new moon in Sagittarius is going to be happening for you guys in your 3rd house. You're going to be having new finds around town, new finds in your neighborhood. You might just be enjoying being there a little bit more often. And this could be simple things that bring you joy. I joined a gym closer to my house than the one I was going to, and I was working out in it, and I was looking out these big windows. It had a beautiful view of not downtown Philadelphia, but pretty close to downtown, and it just made me so happy. And I know that seems small. The 3rd house can at times seem trivial, but it was really beautiful, and I was like, man, I appreciate my neighborhood. I appreciate the actual geographical location of where I live and all that it brings me and how it shapes us. Maybe you live in a more rural part of the country and you look out, or you may go for a run, or you may go for a bike ride or a drive. You may see beautiful grass fields and feel like clean open air. And those things make you very, very happy. So appreciating this Thanksgiving time. And I know by the time this goes up, Thanksgiving will have passed, but just appreciating where we are geographically. And I think it is so fitting that Thanksgiving happens during Sagittarius season, because Sagittarius is very much about being grateful. So you could also have new endeavors with your siblings or your cousins. You could be paying more attention to them. Maybe you're like, just want to call a sibling up and be like, hey, you want to go do this? They may or may not accept your invitation, but you just have these new ideas of stuff that adventures, because Sagittarius is about adventures, that you want to go on with them. Or you could just be paying more positive attention to them, checking up on them more often. Or they could be calling you. They might come to you with a new idea. So and being a Libra ascendant, you guys love that. You love to socialize. So that is really good energy for this time. You could be having new interests that are taking hold, or new energy to explore intellectual pursuits. There could just be something that you've been wanting to learn and that you not have been putting off, but have just not been giving enough time to, and now you are. This could definitely be a time to download Duolingo, or be practicing an instrument that you've been wanting to practice. Even if you just do it on your phone, there's something that is interesting and new and fun to you, and you're going after it right now. You're learning, and whenever we learn something, it always gives us more to talk about with another person, so that allows us to make new connections. This very Sagittarius Gemini energy that goes on in this house, and that is fun to you. And you just may have new ideas about communication, because even though this is the 3rd house, Sagittarius is also about communication too. You may be feeling at this time that you want to be a little bit more blunt. You maybe want to be a little bit more funny. Maybe you're like, hey, I talk kind of serious. Let me throw some more jokes in as I'm speaking to people. I have Saturn in Pisces in the 3rd, so all I do is speak in a serious nature. And at this time, you just might be wanting to bring a little bit more fun and a little bit deeper conversation to the people in your life. And you may just be feeling like that helps you communicate better. It's all about communication, which is a very important part of our life as human beings. Your new moon in Sagittarius is going to be opposite Jupiter in the ninth house. So you're having a lot of ideas. It's a lot of ideas, Gemini, about going very far. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to go to Cancun. And then after this, I want to go to Indonesia. And then in April, my friend invited me to Dubai. You're having all these pots on the stove and these fingers in each pie. As it comes to travel, you may have multiple trips planned, but you may have a problem following through with these things because you could just be overdoing it, over expansion, over abundance. Also, Sagittarius here is very in the third, very much known for having enthusiasm for starting things and not as much enthusiasm for finishing things, if they do finish them at all. So this like explosion of energy amongst the mind, in conjunction with the explosion of energy to travel, this is this opposition of what we say we're going to do and what we want to do, and then what actually happens. That it could be, you could be feeling that at this time. You could be having many big ideas about how to think. Sagittarius is communication, and then the ninth house and Jupiter and Gemini is about speaking, a love of speaking, a love of jokes, a love of thoughts, words, and books. So these two things are just like, Sagittarius wants to speak deeply about philosophy, and Gemini wants to be like, oh, and what about the weather? And then 5 seconds later, they're talking about Taylor Swift. And then after you talk about Taylor Swift, you talk about Travis Kelce. And now we're talking about the Super Bowl that's coming up. And all of it's just like so many thoughts. And then this is broad, and then this is shallow, and it can be a bit overwhelming. These energies not really on the same page. Also, you may have many big ideas about adventure, about fun and spontaneity, and that could be more at odds with you just exploring your neighborhood and the more everyday things that are closer to us. You have this sense of adventure when Sag is in the third of, hey, let me try these new things in my town. But your Jupiter is like, fuck your town. Like, we gotta get on a plane and go somewhere. And those things don't necessarily get along. However, Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter by its nature is a very benevolent planet. So I would say all the oppositions, this is one of the best ones to have. Your new moon in Sagittarius is also square Saturn in the 6th house. So you have a very seriousness that's you've been feeling for a while, because Saturn is a bit of a longer term transit about how you approach your to-do list and how you approach your everyday tasks. You may be very much from 8 to 8:15, I'm doing this. From 8:15 to 8:45, I'm doing this. And you may want to stick to it exactly how you wrote it, exactly in order and to the minute that you wrote it. You're very serious about knocking everything out on your to-do list and sticking to a schedule, making a plan, sticking to said plan, not deviating from your routines, not deviating from your goals. A diet, you could be very serious, like, look, I'm on keto, and like keto is like no pasta, no bread, no sugar. I've been on keto, and then like, holiday time is coming up, and maybe you're like, but I want some stuffing and I want some pasta. Sagittarius likes to have a good time, so Sagittarius will very much be like, let's have a little cheat day, even if this might be your third cheat day this week. And Saturn is very much like, what is a cheat day? No, I'm on keto. Like, there's a seriousness about your 6th house, and it's not getting along with Sagittarius, who's like, let's have fun. And no, we're not gonna be serious about anything right now. So I keep saying this is like milk and orange juice. Like, you don't really mix these two together. Your soul is, we're always on multiple evolutionary journeys, but your soul is like having this pull towards two things. You're really liking being serious about your 6th house. Look, who doesn't want to reap the benefits of a healthy 6th house? But you also want to have this fun and this spontaneity in communication and around town, and those two things don't really get along. You also could be with Saturn in the 6th house having some problems with your health or with your job, and this dampens the fun a bit on exploring and talking with siblings. If you're not in a good mood, if your health is not in a good place, if you have anxiety or you're worried, that not only can worsen your health, but you're not really going to be feeling up to doing those other things. So yeah, again, those energies are not getting along. My advice for you guys, Libra, would be, while attending to your health, because it's very important, and your tasks in order to appease Saturn, take time to channel this adventurous energy into your surroundings and your siblings and your cousins. The varied energy of wanting to travel will then become more solid. Sagittarius is a mutable, varied energy as well, but for now, we want to explore what's around you, and we can attend to Jupiter and Saturn when we come back, as they are more longer term transits. All right, Scorpio, so the new moon in Sagittarius is going to be happening for you guys in your second house. There's going to be a new stream of income that could be coming to you, or a new way of looking at handling your finances. And you're very excited about this new stream of income or this new idea that you have. And it could be something like, I'm going to start taking 10% of my paycheck and putting it in a CD or a high yield savings account. It's just something that makes you happy and excited concerning that. And you could have a new loan or new offers that come to you that bring you a lot of joy, the Sagittarius. Your insurance rate could go down, something like that. Even if it's not an offer of a loan to give you money, it could just be an offer presented to you of something that improves your financial status or standing. The second house is also about values. So you could have a new set of values. Sagittarius is definitely about the philosophies that we have that help guide us through the world, navigating this world. So you could have new values that come up. Maybe you've been philosophizing about masculinity and the patriarchy, and you may have new ideas that come to you about holding the door for women. That's like real conversations I've heard. Some people say, is holding the door for women adhering to patriarchy? Is it infantilizing women? Stuff like that. Whatever those things are for you, that's going to be for you. I can't say what they are because we're all so different, and I'm not a psychic. But those types of conversations, the types of beliefs and values you hold, Sagittarius, you can have some new ideas, and then that'll influence the way that you're interacting with the world with those new values. There could be new spending or new items you're bringing. Sagittarius is really excited. Sagittarius is really excited in the beginning and can almost immediately or very quickly lose interest in something. Because this is energies in your second house, I can sense that you may be a person who orders something on Amazon, and by the time it gets to your house, you're like, what is this? Or I don't even want this anymore. I don't even know why I did that. But in the beginning, it was so exciting and it was so fun. And it was going to be such this like life-changing object. We've all done it. And it is Black Friday coming up. So I would advise you guys, Scorpio, to be very, very careful about your spending at this time. Sagittarius likes to do it big too. So it could be like, I just ordered this really cool, I want to show you guys, like, oh, my mom ordered it for me, but this like candle making set, and they had different sizes. And of course, Amazon sneaky ass, the first one that they recommended was a 15 candles you could make. And like, I was doing it for my brother, and I was like, we don't need to make 15 candles and order the set for 50 bucks. We got the 12 candle one. Each person gets 4. That's more than enough. Like, so keep that in mind. Do not overspend or just become over infatuated with overconsumption at this time. It is very out of control in this country. So keep that in mind. Scorpio. This new moon in Sagittarius is opposing Jupiter, which is in your 8th house right now. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jupiter is about, and the 8th house is about financial security. It's about the emotion that we feel towards our financial security. Second house is very much, I got X amount of dollars in my bank account and it makes me feel good. And if I have double that, then I feel double as good. It's about the actual material numbers that we see. It's about the things we can touch, the shirt and the necklace. It's about those things we can, that are tangible. The 8th house is, when it comes to finances, it's a feeling. I've paid off all my debt. Now I can relax. Now I feel good about the money I earn because I know I'm keeping a larger percent of it. So they're both finances, but a different approach to finances. You are very much interested and have been for a while now with Jupiter in your 8th about setting up that financial security so you could feel that inner security. And that is at odds with you wanting to buy, spend on these new exciting items. That's Sagittarius in the second house energy. You could, because Jupiter is in Gemini, have multiple ways of saving for the future. Maybe you're investing in CDs, and then you also got some in high yield savings accounts, some in stocks, and then you have a 401k. All of this, like trying to create this foundation of financial security, is at odds with this loud new moon in Sagittarius that's like, let's order things. So yeah. However, Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is by its very nature a very benevolent planet. So of all the oppositions to have, this is probably the best one that you can have. It still has opposition type energy, but it is very benign. So as long as you can keep those two things in mind, you should fare this fairly well. However, the new moon in Sagittarius is squaring Saturn in the fifth house. You've been having a bit of a hard time with your children. Maybe they're acting up, or maybe you just see some ways in which you're relating to them could use a bit of work. You're having a hit to your ego right now. You may not be feeling like fluffing your feathers or showing off right now. You may be feeling a lack of creativity or a lack of fun in life right now. Pisces is a very creative sign, and so it's nice to have in your fifth house, but maybe you also feel a bit of like confusion about where to go, or confusion about how to relate to your kids. And Pisces is not it doesn't have the biggest ego. And I would think of all of the signs, it probably has an ego on the smaller side. So having Saturn here is just a big hit to the fifth house. And that is not getting along with this fun Sag that we've got in the new moon. You need some form of optimism, which is Sagittarius, in order for things to work. And you need a belief in yourself. If you didn't have any optimism and you didn't believe in yourself, chances are you would not try out 90% of things, because you would just be like, it's not gonna work, or it's not gonna work for me. So you're just having this like hit right now. It's like you have like a full bag of water with, you know, the new moon in Sag in the second, and then it's just like a big needle and it's just like draining out. Where it's like having your heater on but you got the window open. These two energies are not getting along right now. You have an evolutionary pull to go through both of these experiences at the same time, but it's not really like merging. It's more just like clashing. So yeah, you're having a lack of this fifth house energy. You're struggling with working on it, and it's at odds with the optimism of the second, and just a lack of confidence in some of your ideas right now. And this is Saturn transits for about 2 years, give or take. So yeah, a bit of a tough time. My advice for you guys, Scorpio, affirmations and building yourself up is crucial right now. Building up you. And when we talk about second house, we talk about valuing yourself and realizing how valuable you are, and that nobody in this world is you, and that is the gift. This is crucial right now. Even though that's not the focus of the new moon, I would say the focus of the new moon is definitely on finances, and the emotions that come with that. Our self-esteem is often, and incorrectly but still true so, tied to our net worth. As you are getting your finances in order, you want to get your, it's gonna sound so cheesy, emotional bank account in order, and making sure that you feel good about you. Saturn is tough in the fifth, but it will pass. And when it does pass, you are going to have a more solid sense of, an unshakable sense of self-confidence. So you could do it, Scorpio. Try to focus on positivity and your finances and yourself, and you're going to feel really good after this new moon. Hey, Sag. So this new moon is going to be for us in the first house. Such a great place for it to be. We got new energy, and we are making time to celebrate ourselves. We want to celebrate who we are. We want to show off. We want to tell our silly little jokes. We want to do our pranks. We want to be seen right now. And we want to be seen for the fun-loving, optimistic people that we are. And we are reveling in who we are. Nobody is as big as us. We think nobody is as funny as us. And nobody enjoys a good time or is more positively oriented than us. And we are reveling in ourselves. Revel in the fact that you were born a Sag rising, a fire sign, and a sign that is known for optimism, and a sign that has Jupiter, the planet of luck, as our chart ruler. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, I have Jupiter as a tattoo in my ear. It's not done very well. I got it done for very cheap when I was younger, but revel in that. And I say that, and I got this tattoo because I want us to revel in us and who we are. The world is cosmically focusing on Sagittarius energy right now, and we are Sagittarius energy every day. So beautiful time for us, appreciating ourselves, making ourselves more authentically ourselves. If there has been a time where you, we, us have been holding in our jokes, trying to be more serious, trying to conform, and holding back our Sagittarius selves in order to appease other people, I want you to let it out. Be appropriate. Revel in our bluntness. be nice. But if you got something to say it. If you want to make a joke, say it. If you want to have fun, if you want to party, say it. Sagittarius is so much the sign that will, on a Tuesday night, somebody be like, yo, you want to go to the bar? And they'll be like, before you're even done asking the question, they're like, yeah. And then they might stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning and have to get up at 6 and be to work by 7. And Sagittarius will do that for you. That's cool. And ways to revel, and I'm just going to keep saying that, revel in yourself and appreciate that you were born Sag rising. We are appreciating ourselves right now. You have Jupiter, we have Jupiter in the 7th house. So there's a lot of energy and attention and focus on others. Whenever there's Jupiter in the 7th house, especially because we have in Gemini, which is of constant varied energy, we may have a lot of people approaching us at this time. We're going to be getting asked out on a lot of dates. If we're on the dating apps, our messages are popping right now. Like, we are outside, we are talking to people, and we are flirting, and we're dating, we're showing off. You could also at this time have one person who very much catches your energy. This could be a very Gemini type person, and you may be starting a relationship with them, and it could be a very good, solid, long-lasting relationship, and that's great. We all want that. However, it is in opposition with the new moon in the first, because while we're reveling in ourselves and reveling in who we are, we also want to give a lot of attention, and appropriately so, to our new partner. Listen to them, talk to them, or we want to compromise with them. I said earlier in the video, it's just good relationship etiquette. If you're watching a show together and then your partner has to go to work, you put on something else until they come back and you guys finish it together. Moving forward in a show, if you're in a relationship with somebody and finishing the show without them, it's just like, that's grounds for argument. And I'm joking, but I'm just saying, like, that's what I've heard from most people. We cannot be our spontaneous, extroverted, fun, impulsive self if we are worrying about another person. That's just really at odds with coming into our own right now. And although Jupiter is bringing us joy, the new moon is like, hey, don't forget you. Don't forget to show yourself love. But I will say, as I've been saying for every sign, Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is the ruler of your chart. So, and Jupiter by its very nature is a very positive planet. So we're not gonna feel the harshness of this opposition as much as we would with other planets, say like a Saturn or a Pluto. It's gonna be a very benign opposition, but it's an opposition nonetheless. Focus on yourself right now. Focus on us right now. Where we do have some attention is coming from Saturn in Pisces, which is squaring the new moon in the 1st from the 4th house. You may have hardships and increased responsibility at home, whether it's with the physical home, maybe something is going wrong and you are spending a lot of time calling contractors. Maybe there's a leak or something that's going on in your home and you are spending a lot of time attending to that. It could be you were having maybe hardships with your landlord or with the neighborhood. You could be having difficulties with your parents, not parents, but like family members. And that could just be like bringing the mood down. You know, Sagittarius, we don't ever really like to be down at all. And that might just be bringing your mood down. And Saturn is a bit of a longer term transit, so it might be bringing your mood down and has been for a while. These hardships at home, whether it be the physical or the emotional home, are bringing seriousness to the self, and this inhibits the fun and the joy of Sag. Sag is not serious. That, like, the square from Saturn to the new moon in Sag is so much harsher than the opposition, because Jupiter is already a happy planet. Saturn is already a very serious planet. The 4th house is an angular house, and then Pisces is so inward and Sagittarius is so outward. So very, very much a harsh square, and it's very close. It's by 3 degrees. My advice for all my Sag people out there, this is a time for you. This is a time for you to be celebrating you. You don't have to completely disregard all the people in your life, dating and the other people that you interact with, but we need to put ourselves at the forefront for at least a week before and a few days after the new moon. Take time to check in with yourself. Make sure you are being authentic to yourself. Make sure you are always being honest. Honesty is our North Star. And make sure you are being true to who you are in every sense of the word. In Sagittarius, we just cannot go wrong with this new moon. And whatever you start now, as far as the self-love and building yourself up and appreciating yourself, is what we're going to visit again in 6 months. Capricorn. So this new moon is in Sagittarius. It's going to be happening in your 12th house. Very interesting. Because Sag is positive, you're going to be having new positive ideas about the 12th house. The 12th house can also be seen as gloomy, drab, very serious, lots of tears because it's like the Pisces house, but you got positive ideas. Maybe you're having a lot of fun with a yoga class, or you're meeting a guru or a teacher there. You could be having a new positive dream that teaches you something, or you could be really having fun meditating. You're feeling a lightness and a joy that is coming to your that's coming to your unconscious, and that is radiating throughout you. If you feel good inside, you're gonna be happy. Whether you have a good day, bad day, there's like this inner warmth. 12th house is super important and is right next to the first. People think that the 12th house is this banished dark house, but it is, all of them are important, but I guess I'm a 12th house Leo. I just think it's one of the most important houses. So it's good that you're feeling good there at this time. There could be new events or energy here. You could be starting therapy, finding a new therapist. You could be starting a new medication that has a lot of positive effects for you and just really radiates into the entire rest of the chart. You can have new passions. These could be fleeting because Sagittarius loves to be excited and start things, and then they are really not excited about finishing them. The real excitement and passion is in the start. But yeah, you could have new passions right now that are more introverted. Maybe you start drawing, or you start learning a language, or playing the guitar, or some hobby that you can do in your room by yourself, and you're starting it right now and it's just bringing you a lot of joy. You feel good. I think we've all had that thing where it's like we can't wait to get home so we can start on XYZ. This new moon in Sagittarius is opposing your Jupiter in the 6th house. Jupiter is calling you here in the 6th to do the opposite. These are the most opposite houses in my opinion, although they are the most similar signs that are opposite, if that makes sense. Jupiter is like, you're having a lot of joy right now with structure and routine. You love going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. You love crossing things off your to-do list, making to-do lists, sticking to your schedule. You, 6th house in Virgo energy is very much from 8 to 8:15 I'm doing this, from 8:15 to 8:45 I'm doing this, and you love getting things done exactly in those blocks, exactly how you planned it. That's exactly how you want it to go. And every time things go just in that way, you're loving it right now. And that is very much, 6th house is very much the here and the now, the tangible, the stuff we can touch, and the stuff we need to do, our tasks. And the 12th house is very boundless and creative and thinking, and we get lost in our thoughts and dreams and daydreams for hours. And these two things just are polar opposite. However, Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and Jupiter by its very nature is a benevolent planet. So of all the oppositions to have, I would say this is the best one to have. It still has opposition type tendencies with this aspect that you'll feel for the new moon, but it's very benign. So yeah, I think it's, the best opposition that we can have if we do have one. What is causing a bit of tension is the Saturn square in the 3rd house. So you have been having some troubles and needing to be more responsible about paying attention to dates, schedules, and appointments. You may be on your way to these things and something gets in the way. You may be constantly forgetful, or your mind is just, because Saturn is the mind, is just maybe in a darker place, and then you're like, oh, I forgot I had to do this, or you just might be having a hard time being places on time. And that is not helping, the new moon in the 12th, because 12th house is also like, they don't even know what day it is, and they don't even care as long as they feel happy. So that's very much how Saturn is not getting along. I've been saying this whole video, Saturn and the new moon is like milk and orange juice. They just do not mix. But your soul is on this evolutionary journey of multiple things, and so you're supposed to be learning these two opposite energies at the same time, but it's not really merging, it's more just clashing. You may have a more serious or negative mindset, which is not really getting along with the inner optimism of Sag. Sag wants you to feel optimism from within ourselves. The sun is shining from within, and it's so bright it comes out when we talk to our neighbors, and when we're at work, and when we're at the grocery store, and when we're in traffic and someone cuts us off. Sag wants us to feel that inner, pure optimism that just radiates throughout our whole body. And Saturn in the 3rd just kind of has you speaking and seeing things through more gray colored glasses. I have Saturn in the 3rd natally, And the things that you notice and you think about and communicate can come off a bit negative or pessimistic. And again, Sag is speech, so it wants you to speak positively, but Sag is speaking negatively. Saturn is in Pisces, you may be confused, and that is also adding to you not making it to things on time because maybe you just like forgot, like, oh, today's Wednesday and I thought I made the appointment for Thursday. So real hard square here. There could be a seriousness or a tension with siblings that's taken away from the inner good vibes. Nobody wants to fight with their sibling. I have a great relationship with my sibling, my brother, but I know some people who just always have not. And whether you have a good relationship and you guys have run into a tough time, or you're not speaking as much, or you're not agreeing on something, or whether you've always had a tough relationship and you're just feeling it now, and that kind of doesn't feel good. And it just, the inner radiance of Sag is just a little more dull because of that. Also, possibly some car trouble, which is getting in the way of 12,000 endeavors. Maybe in a very practical sense, you cannot make it to your therapy session because your car broke down. My advice for you guys, Capricorn, your mental health and your inner well-being is paramount right now. Making sure you feel happy and you have an inner joy is the name of the game the week leading up to and a couple days after the new moon. We want to absorb this Sagittarius optimism and make it a part of our everyday. And it's new seeds being planted that will sprout 6 months from now, so in May 2025. So whatever way you choose to incorporate that into your life now, make sure it's something sustainable for the next 6 months, because we will be talking about it again. Also, take very much care of your third house. Make sure you are making it to your car appointments on time, getting your oil changes, and make sure you are putting in the work and being diligent about paying attention to Saturn. Once it starts to leave the house of the third, you will realize that you have a more solid foundation and a less negative mindset, and you will be able to just leave the tension of the square behind and the tension of the third house behind. So attend to it. Don't let it take all your time, but make sure all your ducks in a row, and that will make that transit easier. But pay attention to your third house in a way that allows you to create inner peace. There's something negative or something that needs to be fixed, fix it. But also don't forget to see the Sagittarius silver lining. So that is my advice for you guys, Capricorn. Now, Aquarius, this new moon is happening for you guys in the 11th house, such a fun house. You may be having new groups that you are joining, new friends that come out of nowhere. These new groups and these new friends could be Sagittarian-like. There is a bike riding group that happens every Wednesday at the school near my house. So something like that, where you're joining a group but they're doing something adventurous, they're doing something outside. There are so many travel groups, like, hey, anybody 18 to 35, if you're traveling solo, travel with our tour group. We do tours around whatever country. New friends could be popping up for you guys, and these friends could be literally very big. They could be physically big. They could be very funny, very loud, with very big smiles. I'm a double Sag, so you could just have some of us Sag people coming off the works and they want to befriend you. And it's so great because as Aquarius rising, you guys are so great. Any Aquarius sign is so amazing at making you feel like you're their best friend. So really positive Sagittarius people and a really good friend in you Aquarius people. I always see these are some of the best romantic relationships and some of the best friendships. One of my best friends in the world is like a quadruple Aquarius, and he lives across the country and we're still super close. And that is because you guys just know how to be a good friend. And it's always an exciting time to look out for new friends. So, and you know, you're Aquarius, so 11th house is your domain. So I love this new moon for you. These new friends are going to be very adventurous. They're going to want to go out. They're going to spontaneously call you, and they're going to want you to get up and just do things with them. So be ready for that energy, and you're going to have a lot of fun with that. You're also going to have new personal dreams that come up. You may set new goals. I think in our society, after 25, after 30, people are not allowed to like say, hey, I want to start this, or I want to try this. It's like, oh, well, you missed your time, or you're too old, or that boat already passed. And that's never true. As long as you're living and as long as you're alive, you can do whatever you want. You can have a new dream or a new personal goal that pops up to you at this time, and you are feeling very optimistic because this is Sag about starting it. You are starting with a lot of gusto. You are ordering all the things that you need to order from Amazon. You are telling everybody about it. You are excited. You are feeling really good. Make sure because this is Sag, that you sustain that energy, that you do not get burnt out. Sagittarius we love to start things and then it's immediate almost drop off or just so much of a drag to finish it. And that's not what we want to do right now. I would even say maybe your friends or your groups that are coming out the woodworks right now that you want to join could be related to your dream. If you want to be a photographer, maybe you join a photography group or a photography class that helps sustain that optimistic energy. You have Jupiter in Gemini, which is opposing the new moon in Sag, and it is in your 5th house. So you are loving you right now. You are feeling yourself. Aquarius is definitely about friends, about others, about making society more progressive for everyone else, making the world a good place for everyone. And that is very noble, and we need you guys. However, Jupiter in the 5th, for however long it's been there, usually transits the house for about a year. It's telling you, like, look, you need to appreciate yourself. Forget the world, forget society for a little bit. What you see, that one face you see looking back in the mirror, is what we need to be celebrating right now. You are reveling in yourself. You are reveling in your ego and the things that make you unique and quirky and you. You're very quirky. You're very unique already by virtue of being an Aquarius rising. Nobody around you looks like you, acts like you, thinks like you, and you were born to be that way and born to be proud of it. And Jupiter here is revving that up times like 3. And that is a bit at odds with the 11th house and with friends and being progressive. You want to be at these parties, want to be showing off, want to be dating, want to be, fluffing your Aquarius different feathers. And then you also want to be there for your friends and be there for your groups and put these progressive ideals first. And we can't really be, fluffing our feathers if we are always hanging out with our friends. We can't take the center stage and the spotlight like we feel like we need to do right now, because we are in a group amongst a group, and so the spotlight will, even if it shines on us, is also hitting all these other people. Jupiter by its very nature is a very benevolent planet, so of all the oppositions to have, I think this is one of the best ones. Definitely way better than like a Pluto opposition or a Saturn opposition. Jupiter is a dispositor of Sagittarius, so you will still feel opposition type energy with this new moon, but it's going to be very benign. What's not benign is this Saturn square from the 2nd house. I hate Saturn in the 2nd house in any way. Natal, transit, solar return. You're having some financial troubles at this time. Some debts have caught up to you. Some things have been breaking probably at this time, and you need to just be forking over that money to any and everybody. You could be, as soon as you get your check, the whole thing goes out. And it's just on bills. You're not even getting anything out of it. I'm sorry, I went through this transit and I just had this in my solar return at the same time. Almost took me out, almost, it was just a mess. You are, the profit margin is slim to none at this point. You could actually be in the negative at a lot of points during this time, and this is not a shorter transit. It can last, about 2 years on average. You're not feeling that good about yourself. Or a lot of times, the numbers in our bank account are directly tied to our self-esteem, and they shouldn't be, but they are sometimes. That is a lesson of the 2nd house, to realize that our self-worth and that how much money that we have, how much things that we own, or the clothes that we put on our body do not make the man. We are just as valuable and just as valid of a person. We have just as valid of an experience here on this earth as if we were a millionaire or if we had $5 in our bank account. And that's hard for you right now. It's definitely a lesson I had to learn, definitely something you are learning too. That's kind of getting in the way of friends. It could be a very, practical lack of ability to hang out. When I was going through this transit, I did not have a lot of money. I did not have the best clothes, so I didn't feel confident to like show up. I didn't want to spend a $20 cover fee to get into a club so I can buy a couple of $20 drinks. And then even when I would try to do that, I would just be in a bed. I would just be like at the club, shaking my hand like, I gotta pay that bill tomorrow. Oh, my insurance is coming. Like, you're not even in the moment because you're having so much financial struggles. There's a reason why the house of money is the 2nd in order if we, go around the circle, because it's a very crucial part of life, material abundance. So yeah, you may want to join certain groups that had fees and you cannot join. I wanted to, at the time where this was transit was happening, I wanted to join this art class, and it was $315 for a couple months, and that's not a lot of money, but I just was like, I can't spend that right now on that. There would have to be like a car note or something like that. Yeah, very much like milk and orange juice, very much not getting along. My advice for you guys, Aquarius, would be to take care of your finances, but don't let it consume you. Don't let your every thought or every action be related to your finances. Act in a responsible way, and then, to stop the bleeding, as they call it. But focus on connection. Focus on your friends. Invite your friends over to do something free. Invite your friends over to play cards, sit in the park, or even just call them up or join groups that are free. Or, maybe you cannot attend every class, but you could pay by class to go here and there. The real joy and the real optimism comes from connections with people. And as far as the dreams that you may have, if you cannot afford to buy some of the things, like I wanted to start a photography business, and I was like, well, I don't have $1,000 for camera, and I have a phone. You need to work with what you have. You guys just lean on your friends, and you're gonna be fine. And as always, last but not least, Pisces, this new moon is going to be happening in your 10th house. So positivity surrounding your career, your status, your direction. You may be feeling like there's a position opening, and Sagittarius is sort of that blind optimism, and you might be like, yeah, I got it. I know I got it. You're putting in some job apps, applying for things right now. You could have new energy around status. Maybe you get a promotion. You could be married, you could become a mother or a father or something that gives you status, in metaphorical status in society that just is good and makes you feel good. You may feel like you have new ideas about the direction you want to go. Maybe like, you know what? For the last 10 years, I've really been wanting to start selling products online. And now you just have this energy of Sag, which is so big and so fiery and so impulsive and so positive. And you're like, you know what? I'm doing it. And you might just start like getting things in order, ordering things, telling people about it. You're very excited about your 10th house at this time. Sagittarius, I'm a double Sag, so I know, is known for having so much energy to start things and not as much energy to finish things. So keep that in mind. Try to find a way that the energy, set it up that it is sustainable. Do not overthrow yourself into something and then you kind of get burnt out or get bored. Set up a timeline so that what you want for your 10th house can be sustainable, and then you're just going to keep having this joy come from it. Having Sag in the 10th house is very fun. You guys are very funny, and a lot of times I've seen people with 10th house Sag just have funniness related to their career. One of my favorite astrologers ever that I was watching like 10 years ago, Alyssa Sharp, I'm sure you guys know her. She's like OG astrologer on YouTube. Has a Sagittarius midheaven, and I never met anyone who could make me laugh about astrology the way that she did. So maybe just adding some humor to your career really sets it apart, and I think that's what set her apart. Yeah, that's really good for you guys, Pisces. And it's just so cool to have this in a fire sign because you guys are a water sign and can be more introverted. And I don't want to say lack of follow through, but you are just slower to act. And so it's really nice to have this fire sign in this angular house. It gives you, the universe is giving you this push, and it just gives a balance for the edge and then the introversion that you naturally have. You are having Jupiter opposite this new moon in the 4th house. Jupiter is really calling your attention home in a good way. It is holiday time, so maybe you are just spending a lot of time calling people that you haven't seen in a while, and maybe you are fluffing up your house, setting things up, lighting candles, sweeping and dusting things for the holiday times. Jupiter and Gemini is also communication. You could have a lot of Gemini people in your family that are calling you, or you're calling them, or texting, or sending memes or whatever in anticipation for this time. And it could just be you guys having a good time in general. Jupiter transiting the 4th house. Moved into a very nice apartment when I had this Jupiter in the 4th house. And I just remember really enjoying the apartment. It was very beautiful, and it just had all of the attributes that I wanted. That could be it. a home coming through. You could sign a very good lease or have a landlord that you really get along with. Something like that. Jupiter is calling you home. The new moon is calling you to work. I always say when you're at work, you're not at home, and when you're at home, you're not at work. Sometimes, people work from home, but you get the idea. There is an opposition here of wanting to create worldly success and wanting to be completely turned off all your work emails and phone calls and just wanting to be with your family and just wanting to relax in your home on your couch with your dog or your cat or whatever. These are very opposite energies. However, what helps it is that Jupiter is the dispositor of Sagittarius, and so that is good. And then Jupiter by its very nature is a very benevolent planet, so this opposition is the best opposition that you can have, in my opinion, compared to some of the other ones like Pluto or Saturn, which would just be terrible. You're still going to feel this opposite pull towards things. However, it's going to be very benign and it's not going to be as harsh. So that's good. What is harsh, however, is that you guys have Saturn transiting the first, and it has or will be there for a while. Your confidence is being tested by the universe. Saturn is very critical. And if it's the first house, you're being very critical of yourself right now. Critical of your direction, critical of how far you've made it in your life, critical of your appearance. You could be really standing in the mirror, picking yourself apart, which is very easy to do with the social media time of all these filters and plastic surgery and stuff like that. You could just be hard on yourself and hard on your accomplishments. And then you're a Pisces rising, so that's already not the most outwardly confident sign. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is part of your nature. Confidence is needed for career growth. You're not going to get far in a career, and nobody ever got far in their career if they're like, oh, I can't do it. Obama is not going to become Obama, and Michael Jordan is not going to become Michael Jordan, and LeBron James, and you get what I'm trying to say, if they just felt like I can't do it or I'm not good enough. They push themselves and they work. So that energy is like milk and orange juice. It is not mixing. The universe is calling you to have multiple evolutionary experiences at the same time. Some of those things coincide and get along and help one another, and some don't. These do not merge right now. They sort of clash. You have a discipline and a seriousness that comes over everyone who has Saturn transiting their first house. And that's really at odds with Sag. Saturn as a planet and what it represents is just at odds with Sag. Saturn is very serious and it's very organized and it's very disciplined and it's about the long term. And Sagittarius is very impulsive and it can be short term or short lived, and it's very unserious. This is the sign of pranks and comedy and the royal jester. So energy is not getting along. You could be a bit pessimistic at this time, and the Sagittarius is trying to be optimistic. So again, not a good square at all. And it's a pretty close square by 3 degrees. So you could be waiting for things to be more formal, with Saturn transiting the first in terms of your career, instead of just taking a Sagittarian type of risk. My advice for you guys, Pisces, for how to best utilize this new moon is there is a huge reach and there is a huge optimism and luck with Sag surrounding your career and your 10th house right now. And so I want you to take a leap of faith, even if you don't feel super confident. And I want you to remain positive. Even if it doesn't work, the whole point is to try. The whole point of Sagittarius is the archer. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Sagittarius is often going to miss a lot, if not half, if not majority of the things that we shoot our arrows at, because Sagittarius is just shooting them off. Just boom, 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 boom. But in doing so, you hope and you want that one of those arrows is going to hit a bullseye and something is going to stick. Put your app out there. Take that risk. Take that leap at work and try to just invoke that Sagittarian positiveness, that things will work out for you. I know it's been a bit of a tough time with Saturn transiting your first house, but the universe is on your side. It wants you to succeed. It wants you to do well. You've also got Jupiter in your 4th house, which is our innermost self and your inner child. Call on the positives of the, astro weather at this time. Talk about some of these things with your family and soak in their support. Allow Jupiter transiting your 4th house to bring your playful inner child out, and that can help overshadow some of the pessimism of Saturn in the 1st. Just give you that confidence. Even if it doesn't work, the point is to try. Push past any lack of self-confidence and feelings of rigidity right now. Things don't have to be formal. Things don't have to be perfect. You can still revel also in the joy of home, which is Jupiter, while simultaneously creating a positive and far-reaching professional life. The two do not have to be at the exclusion of the other. So hang in there, Pisces. You guys can do it. I'm excited to see what happens in your career. This is an angular house, so this new moon is going to be a bit more charged in angular houses than it is going to be in, succeeding or Caden houses. Anyway, that's what I have for everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys for the full moon on December 15th.